The ocean is calm. Too calm. Steel hums beneath your feet, jet engines rest in silence, and a nuclear-powered city floats across the Pacific with absolute confidence in its own invincibility. You think you know where you are. You think you know when you are. Then the sky darkens, the air turns electric, radar screens explode into chaos, and history itself begins to bend. This is not just a story about a warship. This is a story about time, power, and the terrifying question humanity has never truly answered. If we could change the past, would we survive the consequences? In 1980, audiences were introduced to a concept that felt both thrilling and deeply unsettling through the film The Final Countdown. At its core, the story followed one of the most powerful war machines ever built, the USS Nimitz, as it was mysteriously transported back in time to the days just before one of the most consequential moments in modern history. But beneath the fighter jets, naval protocols, and military precision was a much deeper narrative. One that asked what happens when modern certainty collides with historical inevitability. The USS Nimitz was not a fictional ship invented for cinema. It was real, formidable, and symbolic of a new era of warfare. Commissioned in 1975, the Nimitz-class aircraft carriers represented unmatched technological dominance. Nuclear-powered, capable of operating for decades without refueling, and carrying an entire air force at sea, the USS Nimitz was designed not just to fight wars but to prevent them through sheer presence. It embodied Cold War logic at its most extreme, power so overwhelming that conflict itself becomes irrational. Yet the film dared to imagine something radical. What if that power, forged in the late 20th century, was suddenly dropped into the fragile, combustible world of 1941? What if radar-guided jets faced propeller-driven aircraft? What if nuclear-age command structures confronted a world still governed by telegrams, binoculars, and gut instinct? The answer, as the story unfolds, is not triumph. It is paralysis. The time shift occurs during a naval exercise near Hawaii. The sky darkens unnaturally. A swirling storm forms, defying meteorological explanation. Lightning does not strike downward. It wraps. It coils. It encircles the ship like a living thing. And then, just as suddenly as it begins, the storm vanishes. The sea returns to normal. But the world does not. Radio frequencies are wrong. Signals don't match known codes. Civilian ships appear where none should exist. And then the most chilling realization hits the crew. The date is December 6, 1941. One day before the attack on Pearl Harbor. This is where the story stops being science fiction and becomes moral philosophy. Because now, the USS Nimitz is no longer just a ship. It is a witness. And potentially, a weapon capable of rewriting history. The crew knows what is coming. They know that within hours, aircraft from Japan will descend on Pearl Harbor, killing thousands and dragging the United States into World War II. They also know they have the power to stop it. Modern F-14 Tomcats patrol the skies. Their radar can detect enemy planes long before visual contact. Their missiles can destroy targets miles away. Against 1941-era aircraft, they are gods. The film does not shy away from showing this imbalance. Japanese reconnaissance planes are intercepted effortlessly. Their pilots never see what kills them. There is no dogfight, no struggle, just annihilation. But power creates responsibility. And responsibility creates fear. The commanding officers aboard the Nimitz face an impossible decision. Intervene, and they may save thousands of lives at Pearl Harbor. They may even prevent the Pacific War entirely. But in doing so, they risk unraveling everything that comes after. No World War II as it happened. No reshaping of global power. No Cold War as it was known. No technological trajectory leading to the very ship they stand on. They are staring directly at the grandfather paradox, not as a thought experiment, but as an operational dilemma. What makes the story resonate is not the spectacle, but the restraint. The crew debates. They argue. They hesitate. This is not Hollywood heroism driven by emotion. This is institutional thinking colliding with human instinct. Some believe saving lives is always the right choice, regardless of consequences. Others understand that history is not a clean line but a tangled web, and pulling one thread may collapse the entire structure. Meanwhile, the film grounds its speculative premise in real historical tension. In 1941, the world was already on fire. Europe was deep in war. Asia had been destabilized for years. Japan's expansionist ambitions were driven by resource scarcity, political ideology and strategic desperation. Pearl Harbor was not a random act. It was the result of escalating pressures and miscalculations on both sides. The film respects this complexity. It does not reduce history to villains and heroes. It presents it as momentum. As the hours tick down toward the attack, the tension becomes unbearable. The Nimitz launches patrols. Fighters shadow Japanese fleets. Information pours in faster than 1941 can comprehend. Yet no matter how advanced the technology, the future refuses to cooperate. Every attempt to alter events is met with resistance. Orders are delayed. Opportunities slip away. Weather shifts again. And then, just as the final decision approaches, the storm returns. The same unnatural force that brought the Nimitz back in time now pulls it forward again. The ship is dragged out of 1941 before it can act decisively. History snaps back into place like a stretched rubber band. Pearl Harbor happens. The war unfolds as it always did. And the USS Nimitz returns to its own time, carrying the unbearable weight of what it almost changed. This ending is not a failure. It is a statement. The final countdown does not argue that humanity should never change the past. It argues that we rarely understand it well enough to do so safely. The film suggests that history is not just a sequence of events, but an ecosystem. Alter one moment, and consequences ripple outward in unpredictable ways. The deaths at Pearl Harbor were tragic, but the war that followed reshaped global politics, ended empires, accelerated technological progress, and redefined international order. Removing that catalyst might not have created peace. It might have created something worse. The USS Nimitz itself becomes a metaphor, a symbol of modern confidence, suddenly humbled by forces beyond engineering or strategy. Nuclear reactors, jet engines, and digital systems mean nothing when confronted with time itself. The ship survives the experience, but it does not conquer it. And that may be the most honest conclusion the story could offer. Decades later, the film still resonates because the question it poses has not gone away. We live in an age of unprecedented power. Information moves instantly. Weapons can end civilizations. Technology advances faster than ethics. The temptation to believe we can control outcomes, predict consequences, and engineer perfect solutions is stronger than ever. The final countdown stands as a quiet warning. Power without humility is not progress. It is risk. In the end, this is not just a story about a ship traveling through time. It is a story about restraint, about the courage to not act when action could destroy more than it saves, about accepting that some events, however painful, shape the world in ways we may never fully grasp. The USS Nimitz returned to its own era unchanged in structure, but not in meaning. It had glimpsed the fragility of history and the limits of control. And so have we. Because the most unsettling realization is not that time travel might be possible. It is that even if it were, we might not be wise enough to us.